You can't go through a day without hearing about healthcare reform. St. Paul Corner Drug is here to help you navigate the ever-changing healthcare landscape. We are your advocate in getting much-needed prescription medication covered under your insurance plan. Need to choose a different plan? There is no reason to feel like you are drowning in the system. St. Paul Corner Drug can make simple work out of finding you a plan that best suits your needs. You can rest assured at St. Paul Corner Drug, pharmacy the way it should be.
I'm Angela Warner with Warner Stellian, and if you know me, you know I love a good bargain, which is why I'm telling you about our year-end appliance clearance. Our stores are packed with red-tagged closeouts, scratch and dents, and floor model appliances priced to sell so we can make room for next year's models. And if you buy more now, you save more. Get an additional 10% off 2 red tags and 15% off 3. You'll still enjoy our famous free delivery by our trusted specialists. So hurry into your local Warner Stellian to score a deal before they're gone.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is Ghostbox Radio.
And this is Ghostbox Radio on AM 950, where every week we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, or just the unusual. My name is Greg Bakken, and thank you for very much for joining me today. Brett, who is in today, a rare appearance by Brett Johnson on Ghostbox Radio. I didn't know if I should have bowed or if I, curtsied or what should I have done. I got to make sure you're still reaching those FCC requirements every once in a while. I mean, someone's got to monitor the station. So, well, this is the big review today. I wasn't sure if it was because last week I had to go at this, not the content, but just the fact that you don't know how to use a television. You don't paste the stuff onto the screen. Actually, it's an old school television. You plug it in, and that's how the image comes on the screen. Do you have your Christmas shopping done, Brett? Relatively done. Yeah, there's a couple more things I still got to get, but pretty much set. Everything packed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do pack it and you're out. I don't know. But wrapped or? Yeah, pretty much wrapped and still waiting. A couple more Amazon deliveries. That's about all I got set. All I'm going to say is I have another idea for a present that we're going to be talking about today here. So just you wait. It's going to be good. All right. Brett's just like, whatever, just do the show for goodness sake. Author Dan Myers was born in Montana. Growing up around horses fueled his fondness for these majestic creatures, which you'll learn about through the series of books that we're going to be talking about today. While as a child, Dan's parents moved the family to Minnesota. While in high school, Dan met a group of friends and they became avid gamers, and they still are to this day, as well as wrestler and baritone. Growing up in a family of 12 children and only one television, Dan rarely watched TV, which fueled his love of reading. Unbeknownst to him, it was then that the first inclinations of this journey began and evolved. Fast forward 40 years and extra time on his hands with COVID shutdown, Dan finally found time to put his thoughts to paper, and Alejandra Rising, the first book in the Knight's Trial series, was born. Dan is local, and he resides in the suburb of the Twin Cities, perhaps even my suburb. We might share a suburb here, don't we? With his high school sweetheart, Kelly, and they're celebrating 31 years of marriage in 2022. Congratulations on that. That is fantastic. 2 years active military service, playing in the M60A3 and M1 Abrams tanks, 4 years Army Reserve as a combat medic, including a deployment for Desert Storm. His military services introduced him to the Society for Creative Anachronists, where he eagerly learned skills of armoring, winemaking, swordsmithing, and silversmithing. He put his newfound skills to task while in college, earning his Bachelor's of Science in Accounting. Dan, welcome to Ghostbox Radio.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much for being here. And I'd like to invite all of our listeners to the conversation to do so, to ask a question to Dan. And we kind of skirted over what we're talking about today. And we're going to do that in a second because he's an author. And we have this really cool book that we're going to be talking about today. Once you learn more about it, you can call in 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. And we are also live on AM 950 radio, obviously, but streaming video on the following Facebook pages. You can watch us on AM 950, Things Network, Ghostbox, Free Spirited Network, RU Media, Skeleton Key Network, and Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. So please go to these places, support them, but feel free to leave questions on any of those pages you're watching from, as I am monitoring the comments on those pages too, if you have any questions. And what we are talking about today is the book that Dan has written that we're going to be talking about here, called Alejandro Rising. And it's the first book of the Knight's Trials. And I wanted to get you on here, Dan, first of all, because I'm hoping that we can help move some copies, because this is pretty amazing. You brought me in on this earlier this year, and I was just, seeing where you were, and then how quickly this moved to a finished book is pretty incredible, I think.
Yeah, well, it moved quickly, but a lot was already done
Right
by the time I saw you. But yeah, it was a manuscript when you started helping, and we had to get it edited, and Roger helped with the editing a lot. We have a mutual friend, Roger.
Yes.
And that's all I did for like 3 months.
It is pretty incredible. So the book, once again, folks, is called Alejandro Rising. And why don't we talk about what the book is about? And if we end up going into the second segment with that, that's fine, whatever. I want you to be able to explain a little bit what this book is about, because normally we're talking about paranormal on the show, but today we're talking it's fair to call it fantasy.
Yes, absolutely, fantasy.
And so why don't Dan, you tell us about the book, please?
Sure. It started characters from D&D campaigns years and years and years and years ago. But so while I use the characters and kind of the interaction, really what I try to go for is the interaction from a group of friends who they're not all friends, right? And it's not that they're not all friendly, but it's like, I know you and you know George and Bob, and me and you are really good friends, and your friends good friends with George and Bob, but I'm not great friends with George and Bob. In fact, I really don't like Bob very much at all, and he doesn't like me, but we all go out and do stuff together because that's our group of friends.
Sure.
And so that's the kind of dynamic I go through. And you'll read, there's a lot of teasing, a lot of roasting between the characters, but it's really, this book is following Alejandro, and he is preparing for a grand melee, which is held every 25 years in the kingdoms. And it's a great, all the knights compete in this, or maybe not all the knights, but knights come from all over to compete in these tournaments. And he's not a knight. So first he has to compete in an open melee, do well enough in there to get invited to the grand melee, and then he needs to win the grand melee. And his goal is to get knighted, because if a non-noble wins the grand melee, tradition is the king grants them a knighthood.
Because it makes sense that you're going to have, if knights are winning, that you want the winner to be a knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So if Alejandro is not a knight, what is his motivation to want to do and be in the melee?
Well, he is in love with a princess of the Southern Kingdom.
It's always love, isn't
it?
Yep,
it's always a girl.
Yep, it always is.
So he's in love with the princess of the Southern Kingdom. And now that kingdom was actually taken over by the Golden Elf. So it's really no longer in place. And while it would probably be acceptable for him to marry her and for them to be together, he sees it as that would be such a loss of honor and reputation for her that he will not do that.
Got it.
So he insists on becoming knighted before he'll propose to her. And so she's been waiting, and she's been waiting a long time. because he's been trying to get knighted for about 10 years. And she is younger than him, so
there's some chivalry in a sense,
yes,
to it as well. Which I mean, so Alejandro is a very he's noble. It sounds like he holds the attributes of a knight, or what you'd expect a knight to be. Do we find within the books that what I think a knight would be, we find that there are knights that are not like that, or?
Yeah, there's knights of all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and just like any other profession, right? Yeah, you have some people who are sticklers for the rules, some people who use the rules for their advantage, some people who, I'll follow the rules if it's convenient, but I'm not such a stickler. So among the knight class, and there's also knights and there's paladins, and paladins tend to be much more knightly.
Is that because I am, I'm not I don't know a lot about fantasy books and stuff in general. Is that a term you came up with?
No,
that's a certain type
paladin of... actually, Charlemagne had the paladin.
So way back in English history.
European history.
Yep.
That was, I believe, a term used back then, but D&D uses it as a holy warrior. And they are kind of holy warriors in a sense, in that they're raised by a priest, not a regent. Knights are raised by regents. They have to have the stamp of approval from a regent in order to be a knight.
Got it.
Paladins are raised by a priest, and they follow a lot of the same code, but they have different, because they're blessed, they have certain, innate abilities. And this sounds very D&D-ish. Yes.
But I mean, D&D is the groundwork for a lot of fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
absolutely
just what it is. I mean, it's been a standard for 45, 50 years for role playing.
Even longer, I think. It started in the 60s.
That long. Okay.
Late 60s.
So. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's just how it is. Where does this universe take place? Where does this all take place?
Well, it's a section of a world, and it's a world that was created by the forest spirits. And as far as you know, so this is the first book, so I haven't really delved into that a lot.
Sure.
But yeah, it was the forest spirits control all the magic in the world. And the creation story, I've hinted at, but not gotten into real depth. And that's, as you go through the books, you'll get more of that creation story.
Because you don't want to give it out all at once.
Well, it's just boring to sit there and say, in the beginning.
Right. It's just, and then you in book one are bound to it.
Yeah.
By book whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's do this, Dan. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with author Dan Myers. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
No matter if you're eating out or cooking something at home, EatLocalMinnesota.com has you covered with a list of locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. Locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oil and vinegar since 2009. Reintroduce yourself to all the many flavors by tasting before you buy. From darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil from all over the world, there is something for everyone. Vinaigrette, located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Enjoy the fantastic food like their pizzas, burgers, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, their wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Thanks to everyone who supported AM 950 for the last 3 years. Good news, the AM 950 2023 calendar is ready to go, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. If you sign up to become a member with a one-time $50 membership or recurring monthly membership of $10, you'll receive a 2023 AM 950 calendar as a thank you gift. Go to am950radio.com to become a member and receive a calendar. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Are you dreading Monday, hating life, and living for the weekends? It might be time for some life changes. Pamela Topjian is a board-certified hypnotherapist at hypnobreakthrough.com, and she can help. Consultations are always free, and you will also receive a complimentary sample session to try out. Folks, I highly recommend this. Get in touch with hypnobreakthrough.com or send a message on social media, Hypnobreakthrough or Pamela Marie Topjian. This is what happens when you read ahead, and get those sessions going for you. Also, I want to congratulate Char Savoy. You might have heard her voice doing a commercial for Metamorphosis Connection. That is her company, and congratulations to her for joining the family over at AM 950 as a sponsor for Ghostbox Radio. Please make sure that you go check out metamorphosisconnections.com and check out what they can do and how they can help you as well. Now, welcome back to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bach, and thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Dan Myers, who is the author to the Alejandre Rising, the first book in the Knight's Trials series. You can get the book on Amazon.com. But also, please check out his Facebook page, The Knight's Trials, because that's where all the updates are going to be for the upcoming books. And you can also see what other people are thinking about the books as well. And Dan, I mean, right now, quite the journey, right?
Oh, it's been wonderful. It really has.
I mean, I can see the smiling face, and I've known you for a long time. So, I mean, I don't remember ever seeing you smile. So, I mean, this has to be pretty amazing. You know, you and I have known each other for over 30 years.
Yeah.
You know that? Isn't that something?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Since the 80s.
I can almost imagine that I can be very honest, and this isn't a rip on you or anything. I never imagined you write a book. You probably never imagined being in a studio with me doing a radio show, interviewing you about said book. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible. A couple of comments from the folks on Facebook. First of all, Brad Webb says, thank you for your service, Dan. Absolutely. And congratulations on the many years of marriage. Where is the book available for purchase? Amazon.com. Is that the only, I mean, where else?
No, Uncle Hugo's dropped off. There's a couple. There's one on, I should know the names of these. And if I'd known I was going to be asked, I would have known them.
Well, it was a radio interview. I guess maybe I wasn't clear that I was interviewing about the book. I'll be better next time.
No, there's one on Hennepin in like 31st, and then there's one in Northeast off a second. And I went to like 40 bookstores and tried to get ones to sell them, but those three picked them up. And then Amazon, and then if you go to Wyvern Zeri, You can get the paperback or the hardcover. And if you order them through Wyvern's Airy, I will sign them and, give you the cool bookmark. And
where is that again? Because that was kind of quick that you said that.
Yeah, it's www.wyverns, WYVERNS, Airy, AERIE.com.
There it is.
And you can go to www.thenightstrials.com, and that'll bring you to the same place.
And also Amazon.
And Amazon has all three of them as well.
Nice.
And I dropped the price to the ebook to like $2.99, so it's very affordable.
That is very affordable, and there's a lot here. And we don't have it figured out exactly yet, but we're giving a book away through the station. Dan was kind enough to give us a copy. Or you can just
give it away to somebody you like.
Well, we'll be giving
however you want to do it.
We're going to be giving it away to Brett after the show. No, I think we should do that. I think we should give it away probably in January, because the next couple episodes we're going to be doing things a little bit more remote due to the holidays. But why don't we do that then?
That sounds great.
We'll have you sign it, and we'll give it away. And I think it's going to be great. And just so you know, this is a shorter segment, so you're going to get into answering a question. I'll be cutting you off, but that's okay. We have two more afterwards. But the one thing that I was really curious about is how on earth do you plan something like this, let alone a book with all the characters? I mean, a book of this size is going to have more than like 3 characters in it. I look at one of my favorite properties is Star Wars, and the most recent trilogy that ends with Rise of Skywalker. I walked away thinking you had a lot of money to plan out a 3 films that makes it cohesive, and that did not happen. What are you doing to kind of keep track of everything in this?
So they talk about plotters and pantsers, whether you plot everything out or you go by the seat of your pants. And I'm definitely a plotter. So I started off with just kind of my story arcs and the story arcs I wanted within the book. So even like some of the minor story arcs, I just kind of plotted out every major event and then, had that listed down and then kind of fit those together in the series of 3 books. And so some of them arc through all 3 books. Some of them are done in 1 book, and they just keep going on.
I mean, it has to be fun, but also time consuming to be like, okay, this is Alejandro. This is what he likes. This is what he doesn't like. He's, kryptonite, not kryptonite, all that stuff. And I mean, because you have to have that kind of figured out. Or do you also, when you're writing the book, that you're just like, oop, I just got a new character trait I'm going to add that to the list?
So I try not to do that.
Okay.
But, so as I said, a lot of these are based on D&D characters from years and years ago. So
sure.
For their personalities, I was pretty, sure of them, or I understood what I wanted them to be. I did write little bios for each one.
Yep.
And then I wrote a couple short stories as well to try to flesh out. And, they're not published or anything. They probably will never be published. But just to kind of flesh out formative things in people's lives. Because, what you can say, oh, he's, afraid of fire. But, somebody's not just afraid of fire for no reason.
Sure.
There's a formative event that caused them to be afraid of fire. And so I tried to build those into the backstories.
When I would write for my blog, which was always nonfiction, but that was always the thing too. I always thought if I'm writing a sentence, I need to back it up somehow, right? And that's kind of this. I mean, that's a really good point that you bring up. It's like he doesn't like anchovies. That's just I'm just saying. Well, why? I mean, even if it's just like he's allergic, that's something. It's better than just like, oh, it's just something we needed to put in there for a prop up of a plot, opposed to actually something that is well worth the time to actually put it in there for.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have it be a plot point, right? He doesn't like anchovies. You can't just bring it up at the time of the plot point, and that was actually something I did very often, was bring stuff up when they mattered. And, so Roger and my editors for a number of things said, you know what, this is sudden. You need to foreshadow this. So if you're going to say he doesn't like anchovies, you got to have a meal early on. And he's like, oh, anchovies, I can't eat this.
I just realized I don't like anchovies, but it's a good point. I mean, Roger, once again, who I've known longer than you, is absolutely perfect because he loves these worlds, and he is such an such a creative and analytical thinker at the same time that it was a perfect help for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did so much as far as developmental just to make it readable to somebody else, because I tend to get verbose and over describe, and because I've got an analytical mind.
Sure.
And I want every detail.
Because you're a counting monster.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Why don't we do this? Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the Dan Myers. You are listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. If you just had Thanksgiving at home, you're probably still assessing the headaches your holiday company caused to your carpets, tiles, and maybe even the upholstery. And now you have less than a month before it's going to happen all over again. Call Zero Res today and ask for the AM 950 special and 3-room Zero Resified for just $119. That's a $50 savings. And don't forget those air ducts. Take another $75 off your air duct service to get them Zero Res clean. Also, are you looking for last-minute gift ideas? Give your loved ones a Zero Res gift card to spread the Zero Res clean cheer. Call 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today and beat the holiday rush. Lastly, now is the best time to book Zero Res for your year-end office cleaning and get you ready to provide your employees and patrons a clean and safe environment for 2023.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
This year, make a tax-deductible contribution that can change a life. Every day, Better Futures Minnesota helps justice-involved men, providing second chances, on-the-job training, and support services, while helping them create a new pathway forward. We depend on your end-of-year contributions to do this critical work. Better Futures Minnesota embraces men who are locked out of our society, living in chronic poverty with histories of incarceration, persistent unemployment, untreated mental illness, addiction, and homelessness. Your donation will be focused on breaking down barriers to employment for a vulnerable population of men by providing them with meaningful work experience, helping them build a foundation for success so that they can provide for their families and community. Not only do our men achieve employment, but there is environmental stewardship in the work that they perform, from structural deconstruction, reuse sales, to appliance recycling. Donate to Better Futures Minnesota before midnight, December 31st, and help create a new pathway forward. Visit betterfuturesminnesota.com/donate. We really appreciate you.
Are your remote workers putting your company at risk? Not sure what steps to take to secure your data? Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide with the 5 steps to securely work from home. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
What are you doing to bring in the new year? Why not come out to Northeast Minneapolis and go to Let's Dance New Year's Eve dance party that runs December 31st from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. at the beautiful P&A Hall. once again in Northeast Minneapolis, with DJ Midnight Music Club presented by Rogue Buddha Gallery and the Northeast Social, just learning to speak over here, for a limited time only. Buy one general admission ticket and get the second free. For more information and to get your tickets, visit roguebuddha.com/NYE. You dance to your heart's galore on the spacious dance floor within the historic P&A Hall, which is truly amazing. Located in the heart of Northeast Arts District, DJ Midnight Music Club will be spitting the very best 80s new wave, synth wave, and pop dance hits from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Once again, go get your tickets. roguebuddha.com/NYE. If I can, I'm definitely going to be there because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. My goodness, the P&A Hall has been a part of my life, my whole life, because a lot of weddings and stuff were there for my family. My parents had their wedding reception there back in 1964. So that place actually means quite a bit to me. And I also just want to throw in too, in that building is the Rogue Buddha Gallery. And please go check that place out. We're going to be talking a little bit more with its owner, Nick, hopefully very soon. But he does amazing artwork. Check it out. It's beautiful. And hopefully we'll be doing some more stuff over there as well. So definitely check it out. I also want to say, I mentioned last week that our next Ghost Stories and Beyond in Billy's in Anoka, we're going to have Dave Schrader there, and tickets have sold out. But what we're going to try to do is we're going to try and open up more space for people to buy tickets. We're working with Billy's. We'll know this week. Please check out my show page on AM 950 or on Facebook, MN Ghostbox, which is my page, to see what the situation is. We're getting a lot of requests. People want to see Dave Schrader. He wants to see more people. So hopefully we'll have some more information on that very soon. If you miss Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken Live, AM 950 replays these episodes Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can listen anytime by going to Spotify or iTunes. After listening, please leave a positive review for my show. I'd greatly appreciate it. Our guest today is Dan Myers, who's the author to the book Alejandra Rising, the first book in the Knight's Trials series. You can get the book on Amazon.com, but please also check out his Facebook page, The Knight's Trial. And, Dan, what I like to do on here is also talk about some really positive things that are going on. For example, I was really positive and supportive when Brett decided to make a model of the White House out of popsicle sticks. So I'm just that kind of person that just really wants to, Brett. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's what
I put a lot of work into that.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, it wasn't
my Christmas present.
It wasn't white, but whatever.
Close.
Close enough. He actually didn't do anything of the sort. But the idea, what the positive thing for me is taken out of here is that you took a dream with Alejandra Rising. You decided you wanted to write, and I please don't think ill of me for this. When you said you're writing a book, I didn't know what to think of it. I just didn't think then that's my small-mindedness. But
no, I didn't think about it. It's anybody who knows me does not think of me as a creative writer.
So here we are. I mean, and so even if you yourself is like, I'm not so sure. How did you make this dream a reality?
Well, I started writing, and I actually started writing this like 25 years ago.
Okay.
And then I had written a bunch, and then my computer crashed, and I lost everything.
Oh, goodness.
And I was like, okay, it's just not meant to be. And went about another 10, 15 years and started writing it again, and kind of got off it and tried to go back to it, and I couldn't find any of the files. And I was like, once again, I was just like, okay, maybe it's not meant to be. And then with COVID, got laid off. And so I was driving Lyft to pay the bills, and I was just bored out of my skull because, I am very analytical. I like puzzles. I like that sort of thing. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to finally write this book. And I sat down, I spent a couple weeks doing all the outlines and all that. And then I just sat down and started writing and didn't bother doing any research because that's how I am.
Yeah.
And that caused me a lot of problems, but just kind of hammered it out. And my wife was like, "Oh, you want to come in and watch TV?" No, I got to write. So she put up with a lot of me not being around because I was sitting tapping on my keyboard.
We were talking during break about Kelly, Dan's wife, and just talking about, from the limited work or help or whatever I sat in when you were at the stages of getting it done. I just, the one thing that just kept coming back was just her support and your daughter's support. I know it was all your kids, but what I saw, and especially Kelly, just, what a absolute cheerleader for you.
Oh yeah, and she has been very helpful because she's not a huge fantasy reader.
Yeah.
She'd be a romance novel if she was going to read something, but she read and she helped with the characters and would give me ideas on how people should act and do stuff throughout it. So yeah, and I would bounce ideas off of her, and she'd give me her feedback, and it's kind of useful hearing stuff from somebody who's not a fan of the genre.
Yeah.
To get their kind of opinion, because for me, I just cannot look at my work objectively.
It's truly a fresh eye.
Yeah.
Looking at all this, which is pretty cool. And then, when you said doing the homework, doing the research on this, I don't know about you, Dan, but I've read so many self-published books that they're good books. They have good subjects and stuff, but they're so horribly laid out. They're just so, they're just not good. And it's just missed opportunities. So, even though you're like, well, I started late on that. Congratulations for doing it at all. Because some people are just going to write and it'll be maybe a first draft, maybe a little bit more, but you really went through all the steps to get it to get it just right. And it seems like that it's paid off for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've got a very good book. But yes, so my first draft was just a monstrosity. Really, I cut 25% of the first draft because there's just a lot of stuff that was world building and was, building characters and explaining how the world worked. And the editors were just like, no, this doesn't add to the story, cut it. And it's hard to take 4 pages of stuff that you've written and just go
right
and shred it and leave it.
And meanwhile, someone who's reading Alejandro Rising for the first time will never know it was missing.
Correct.
That's the funny thing about it, right?
Because it really didn't add to the story.
Yeah. That's
hard as that is for me to hear.
But you still have it though, right? So
yeah,
that's the thing. It's still there. Maybe and do you ever think that's any of those excised pieces or just ideas that didn't quite make it? They could be repurposed too at some point, possibly. I don't know, but there's always the internal optimist in me that thinks that things either that anything can be reused or build upon.
Yeah, so there's a couple characters that we cut out entirely, and there's a couple descriptions and stuff that and that's why I say when you spread it out over 3 books, they might find their way back in later books.
Yeah,
but instead of just being a dump of knowledge, it's going to be worked into conversation, or so it's important to have it and have done it. But the way I presented it in the book was not the most conducive to having a good readable story.
No, and that's I think it has to be the hardest thing in the world to write fiction and edit it. I think that I just can't imagine.
Well, there's a joke: is how many authors does it take to change a light bulb? I'm not changing anything. And I've read a couple books from people who didn't want to change anything, and they can be unreadable because there's more to the editing. I go through a developmental editor, I go through a beta reader, which is Roger.
Yeah.
I go through a editorial editor, and then when all that's done, I do the proofing and line edit. And a lot of people just think, oh, I got to do the proofing and line edit and make sure my sentences are correct. And it's like, no, there's a lot into the story that as a writer, just you can't do it. It's got to be somebody who's seeing it for the first time, doesn't know anything, and they're giving you their opinion on what somebody who doesn't know anything about it thinks about your story.
Now, did you have to go through a phase, or maybe you haven't got there yet, where you realize that every author is going through what you're going through? So because I can imagine that there might be some stuff that happens that you just like, you're going to get feedback and you just be like, oh gosh, certain authors, I can't imagine that they run into this. I'm no good at this, but everyone goes through this. Have you gotten to that stage to be like, this is just the creative process and it's okay, I'm not a failure as an author?
Oh, I don't know if I've gotten that far along, but absolutely, because when you first get those editing notes, you're just,
I'm done.
This is just,
well, screw this.
I mean, pretty much. And it's hard not to take them personally.
Absolutely.
And so the first time, like, I went through it and I was just like, I was writing responses and no, this is it, and rationalizing everything, and I slept on it for a few days, and then I went back and then I looked at it and really looked at it as, is this a valid statement? And instead of trying to rationalize why they were wrong, I went instead and said, okay, how would I prove to them that they're wrong? And a lot of them I couldn't, and I scratched it.
That takes some real self edit. My goodness. Well done on that. Let's do this. Let's take our final break. When we come back, we're going to finish our conversation with author Dan Myers. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Winter is here, and there's a good chance your home isn't being heated efficiently. And it's likely because of air sealing and insulation problems. Inadequate attic insulation is the leading contributor to high energy bills, cold rooms, and ice dams. Great news, the energy-efficient pros at Snap Construction can fix it all. Stop the heat from leaking out and save. Call 612-333-SNAP or visit snapconstruction.com for your free infrared energy inspection. Install with Snap Construction and qualify for over $750 in rebates and incentives. State and city programs are now offering 0% financing for qualifying insulation upgrades. So call Snap Construction for your free insulation energy consultation and start saving on your energy bills. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed insulation and exterior contractor in the metro area. Visit snapconstruction.com.
I'm Angela Warner with Warner Stellian, and if you know me, you know I love a good bargain, which is why I'm telling you about our year-end appliance clearance. Our stores are packed with red-tagged closeouts, scratch and dents, and floor model appliances priced to sell so we can make room for next year's models. And if you buy more now, you save more. Get an additional 10% off 2 red tags and 15% off 3. You'll still enjoy our famous free delivery by our trusted specialists. So hurry into your local Warner Stellian to score a deal before they're gone.
The days are growing shorter and temperatures are getting colder. You know what that means. It's time to plan your unforgettable Eagle viewing trip with the National Eagle Center. Spend a Saturday afternoon with the experts viewing bald and golden eagles in the heart of Eagle territory. Travel by coach bus to multiple Eagle hotspots and receive engaging informational programming along the way. Trips last 4 hours and minimal walking is required. Learn more and register online today at nationaleaglecenter.org/eagle-viewing.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
And next week on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, it's Christmas Day. And I ask that you take some time from your Christmas Day schedule and listen to us as we're going to be talking about the history of Christmas ghost stories. It's not a big thing in the U.S., but it certainly is everywhere else around the world. So definitely check it out. It's going to be quite the episode. And in fact, I am going to be recording something with Matt McNeil tomorrow that's going to be running, I think, during his show this week. I'm so happy to hear that he's recovering pretty well, it sounds like, Brett. I mean,
yeah, he's still recovering. He's at home. He's really chomping at the bit to get back on the airwaves. We're telling him, you got to slow down a little bit, Matt, and recover. But he's in good spirits and really excited to get back on.
So happy to hear that. So please check that out with the Matt McNeil show this week, and also my show a week from today. For our final segment, we return to our guest today, Dan Myers, who's the author to the book Alejandre Rising, the first book in the Knight's Trials series. You can get the book on Amazon.com. There's other places as well. We're going to be talking about that at the end of the show. Plus, check out his Facebook page, The Knight's Trials. You know, Dan, I'm a big British television guy, and there was an interview by a writer of a series called Mulberry. And it was meant to run for 3 seasons. It only ran for 2. And there was an interview with him, the writer, talking about what was going to happen to some of these characters in the 3rd season if it was made. And he was explaining about one of them who was an elderly woman, and that she was going to transition out of this life. And that was the purpose of this character, Mulberry. When he is explaining it, he starts to cry because he's that invested in that character. Did you run into any sort of emotional... you didn't, did you? I can see on your face. You're just like, I wrote it on the page. And
no, I mean, there's some of the dialogue that I
don't lie to me.
I have a not vested interest or emotional interest with some of them, but some of the dialogue I thought was really, I was amazed that I was able to write it, put it that way.
And that's fair. The thing about that is that it's, you're going to get to the point that, I mean, there's currently 3 books, right, that you're planning for the Knight's Trials.
Correct.
And, you're well on your way with 2, right?
Yep.
And 3 is...
All of them are effectively written.
Yeah.
Now it's going through, and so I'm editing the 2nd book, and the 3rd one, I'm taking what I learned from editing the first 2 books and trying not to present those same dumb things to the editors.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get better.
And then, but this doesn't mean the end of the universe for this world.
No, actually, this is just a story arc of the Knight's Trials, and that'll be explained in the 3rd book. And then there's actually more. I have more stories related to this world and some of these characters that goes on, and some of them go in and out, like Fairwind. Well,
yeah, you don't want to give away.
So in this book, Fairwind's being courted.
Yeah.
And she has her protector, Braxlow. And, those 2 are 2 of my favorite characters. But throughout the 3 books, that relationship changes.
It just, and you got to read it. You're going to have to read it.
You're going to have to read it to find out how.
But have you just pretty much for the other books beyond the Knight's Trials, have you just started putting ideas together, or are they just thoughts, or I'm just curious about how far you kind of are at this?
So the 4th book I started mapping that out because I was going to have it be part of the book, but it doesn't make sense because there's a monumental change at the end of book 3. and it just basically resets a lot. And so book 4, if not, it won't be book 4, but the next book in this world would take place right, after this, but it's going to have some new characters, and it's going to have some of the minor characters from this book that become more prominent. And I don't want to give stuff away, but they're going to do more stuff.
Do you kind of look at it as a bit of a toy box, in the sense that you've created these characters, and it's like, I get to do this with them, and I get to do that. This is my world. This is my everything. And I have the control.
Somewhat, but let me, one of my pet peeves about shows is they have this cast of characters, and like TV shows have to do this. They absolutely have to. They've got a cast of characters. Walking Dead is actually one that was pretty good about rotating different people in. But in order to tell this story, they need people with this personality trait and this personality trait and this personality trait. And so they have characters throughout the series change personalities like multiple times.
Sure.
And I didn't want to do that.
No.
So what I do is I have minor characters that grow. And then, as I said, some characters will go away just through the natural progression, and new characters will come in. And so that's how I handle that. Instead of, you just have the same cast of characters over and over. So
Sure.
that's the last book would actually have a couple of the same people, the same major characters, but like Fairwind's gone. And
Sure. So, once again, I just really, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today, first of all, being local radio show, I really wanted to make sure that, especially the folks in Minnesota listening, that we have a local author here who just is putting a lot into a really good book. And a lot of people, especially on the station, love to read. They love to do different things. So I really wanted to hopefully get people to understand your process and support. And that's what I'm really hoping that people will do, is support and buy your book. So once again, the book is, at the very basic, is available on Amazon. But once again, where else can they get it?
They can get it through Uncle Hugo's. They should ask their local bookstore. Because the bookstores can go get it like they can any other book. And it is at the standard rate. So, it's going to be the same profit, whatever, for them as any other book. So ask your local bookstore. That's great. Knightstrials.com or wyvernsairy.com. If you email me on Facebook, I'll figure out a way to hook you up with a book.
And the Knight's Trial on Facebook, the Knight's Trial
Trial group on Facebook as well.
Because you do rooms at certain conventions like Convergence next year. And there'll probably be more things added. So if you want to see where Dan's going, knightstrial.com, as well as the Facebook page. And you can see where you are and what you're doing and all that good stuff too.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that when book 2 is released, to do some book signings at some of the bookstores around town. So that would, again, those announcements would be in Knight's Trials or the Knight's Trial Facebook page or on the website.
And, everybody knows somebody who wants these sort of books and stuff. So, once again, Dan Myers is the author to the book Alejandra Rising, the first book in the Knight's Trial series. You can get the book on Amazon and everywhere that we just talked about, including the website again is
www.theknightstrials.com or www.wyvernsairy.com.
Dan, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
My pleasure. And we'll see you next week talking about Christmas stories. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Now my show will be on Saturdays from 10 to 11 and replayed on Sundays from 1 to 2. You will get to the best of Ellie 2.0 with talking about idealism, with guests who come in and who are idealistic, who are trying to change the world, and you will get me, Super Idealist. Tune in. We can't wait to hear from you, and you'll hear from me Saturdays from 10 to 11.
AM 950 KTNF.